Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Sports Now, the show where we go over and debate the biggest stories in sports. I'm Josh Heller, as always joined by my co-host, Logan Ripley. Logan, how's it going on this deadline day?
It's going pretty well. I mean, a lot of trades out there today. We're going to go over them real quick here, and we'll see which ones impact your team the most. You want to start us off, Josh?
Minor trade earlier in the day. The Heat traded Jarnell Stotts to the Pelicans. More of a luxury tax-saving move there, nothing too big. The bigger one came a little while after that. Houston traded Donatas Motiejunas and Marcus Thornton to the Detroit Pistons, and Detroit sent back Joel Anthony and a projected 2016 first-round pick. That was a bigger one.
Yeah, a top 8 protected. That's a pretty big trade there for them. The Rockets trying to move on from some pieces they've had there and things they've struggled with Howard and Harden. Motiejunas would be a great pickup for Detroit. They just recently got Tobias Harris, small forward / power forward, who's good at outside shooting, can go down there, bang with the bigs, and do it all pretty much. So Motiejunas is a very favorable outside shooter also, and we'll see how that works out for them. Detroit looks like they're making a move as one of the top candidates for trade winners on this deadline day.
Yes, most of these are per Yahoo Sports' Adrian Wojnarowski of The Vertical. Later on, after the Motiejunas trade, the Atlanta Hawks sent guard Shelvin Mack to the Utah Jazz for a second-round draft pick. What do you think about... I mean, Shelvin Mack was pretty big coming out of college, I guess.
He was very good out of college. What was his school again? Do you remember?
I don't off the top of my head. It wasn't Butler, was it?
Like Butler.
I think it might have been Butler.
It was Butler.
Or Gonzaga, one of those.
Butler, Purdue, something like that.
Yeah.
He was very good, and I watched him actually very closely. He just never did. He hasn't done anything in the NBA. I don't really see him doing anything now either with that trade. So
I mean, but a second-round pick isn't that bad of a return.
No, it's a great return.
Right.
You can turn that into anything pretty much, and
yep.
And we're gonna see a lot of those smaller deals happen today. The biggest one that we've seen so far has to be the Cavs, Magic, and Portland trade.
Yes, the Magic were about to send Channing Frye to the Clippers,
right?
But that fell through the cracks. We have most of the details, but what it basically is the Magic send Frye to Cleveland.
Yep.
Varejao goes to Portland, and then I believe Portland gets a conditional first-round pick from the Cavaliers. And then it is also reported that the Trailblazers plan on waiving Anderson Varejao, which is a little surprising to me, honestly.
Right. According to ESPN, the Magic will get Jared Cunningham, who's a shooting guard, and the Portland second-round pick. So, and it's not stating the year, so it must be this coming draft, if I had to guess.
We don't know for sure, but yeah.
Channing Frye, I'm pretty sure he had some heart issues a little while back.
He did have some health concerns, yes.
And he was a good player, yes. And Varejao, I can't believe they're going to waive him. Someone might pick him up.
I mean, obviously it's just reported at this point, so we don't know if it's going to happen for sure. But still, it's definitely surprising.
You look at Portland; they lost. They have one of the Plumlee brothers, Mason, I believe, who used to play for
I forget which one.
Used to play for Brooklyn as their center now.
Yes.
Robin Lopez, I think, is the backup.
He's gone. He's in New York.
He's in New York. All right.
Yep.
He's in New York. All right.
And then they lost Aldridge too. So it's
Aldridge.
Once you get past like Lillard and McCollum, I believe it is.
Lillard, McCollum.
After that, it's pretty weak because they lost Batum too.
They lost Batum. They
lost a lot of guys.
Wesley Matthews.
Yeah, they lost a lot.
But McCollum is playing very well this year.
Oh, yeah.
So I think they're just going for the first-round pick, trying to rebuild. Cleveland first-round pick. I
mean, it's not really a full rebuild. It's more retooling, I guess.
Retooling.
Yeah.
Maybe they trade that
because they're not blowing everything up, I guess.
They're not blowing everything up because they're still winning games.
They are, yeah.
With the guys that they have. So.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's definitely an upside for them. What I'm looking at right now is a little SI, Sports Illustrated, maybe rumors and other things. There's a strong belief within Dwight Howard's camp that he will not be traded today.
Yes, I did see that.
According to CBS.
Yep.
Some other things, Pacers forward Chase Budinger continues to seek a trade. He's a white big, athletic guy, plays usually shooting guard to the small forward, and he can hit the three and can really use his athleticism to get around the court also.
Yep. Another trade that just went down about 20 minutes ago, the Thunder sent DJ Augustine, former Knick legend Steve Novak, and 2 second-round picks to the Denver Nuggets for Randy Foye.
All right.
So that was a little while ago.
I guess the Bulls and the Magic are discussing a trade involving Shabazz Napier.
Yep, I saw that.
Formerly of UConn.
Yep. Also, the pick that Cleveland sent to Portland in that deal is a 2018 first-round pick.
So
that's all we have confirmed as of now.
Right now, if we get anything else, we'll definitely jump back to that since today is the day. 3 p.m. is the time.
Yep, just about
an
an hour away.
An hour and 10 maybe away from us, and we'll keep on keeping you updated on these trade deadline deals.
Yes, and before all the deals went down this morning, the Nets made a move in their front office. They officially hired Sean Marks as their new general manager. So he's going to take over in Brooklyn as they try to rebuild after what looks like it's going to be an extremely unbearable season for Nets fans.
So Sean Marks was with San Antonio before.
The assistant GM, yes.
Assistant GM.
Yep.
And, of course, they've had a great legacy there.
Well, of course, yeah.
He hopes to, change the tides in Brooklyn and maybe...
Good luck.
Maybe take more control of that franchise than the owner should have there and change something. And who knows if they'll let him do that, but hopefully they will because they need to do something there. They get in the playoffs and they're just sitting around that 8-7 seed, getting those picks where those guys are not going to impact your team. And they've been playing pretty much Yankees of the early 2000s with their free agency, the people that they're trading for. They're trading away young guys, picks for the big guys that we saw with the Garnett and the Pierce trade with Jason Terry in the past. That's benefited Boston extremely as of now. So and into the future in the next couple of years, they hope to change their program, and probably emulate what the Warriors have done, and that's what everyone's trying to chase and do.
I mean, it's a good target to set for,
right.
I would imagine. Also, I'm not sure if you saw this report out of Houston, but the 2 Rockets stars, James Harden and Dwight Howard, reportedly tried to get each other traded off the team, which is, it's a battle of who wants the spotlight, and in this case, it looks like both are going to win. They're both going to win the spotlight because it looks like Howard's not going to be dealt.
Right.
As of now, anyway.
Yeah.
Unless something drastically changes. Boston was in talks with him. Charlotte was in talks with him. There were a lot of teams in talks with him.
Right. Howard, of course, he's, all-star. Everyone knows about him. He was one of the best. He was the best center in the league at one point, even with Shaq still playing, I believed. He was a young athletic. He relies on his athleticism a little bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
And now with his back injuries, he's starting to decline. The money that he wants is not what he's worth. And if a team wants to get him, he might not be returning the next season. So why does someone want to give away a couple good role players and some draft picks where they're only going to see him for the rest of the year? And they know that they're not going to make it to the championship. They know that even adding him, they probably don't have a chance to make it. Or if they do make it, they're not going to win. So why give up your future for the now and get nothing in return?
Right. So that is it for NBA. But as we said, as it is deadline day, we will update the show as more reports pour in on a busy deadline day. We move on to the NHL, where defenseman Dennis Weidman's 20-game suspension has been upheld by the league. Weidman was hit hard on a play by Mika Salamaki of the Nashville Predators, and as he skated off to the bench, he looked a little woozy, and he cross-checked a referee, gave the referee a concussion, suspended 20 games, appealed. It's been upheld, but now the NHLPA will appeal the upholding of this suspension. So it's this voyage is just underway. We'll have to see with Weidman if he really does get the 20 games. I wouldn't be surprised if it stays at 20, but we'll have to see on that. And last show, the weekly show on Radio St. Rose, we talked about the situation with the Flint Firebirds, if you remember that.
Yes, I do.
And today in Flint, one player showed up to their practice.
Wow.
And can you guess who that player is?
The son of the
owner. Yep, the son of the owner was the only one that showed up to practice. And the Ontario Hockey League, the league that the team is in, sanctioned all of the management team, and they are suspended until further notice.
Wow.
And they will also offer counseling to all the players, as it's been very tough to go through. I mean, they're younger than us. So.
Right, exactly. There's a lot of things going on there.
Yep. For NHL, that's about it. We move on to a very light day in the NFL and a very sad day for a Vikings fan.
Yep. Myself, everyone else included in Minnesota.
Bears fans, Vikings fans, Panthers fans.
And Kansas City Chiefs
fans.
Yeah,
I forgot he was even there.
Jared Allen, defensive end, just great player, announced his retirement on horseback.
That was a great tweet.
And through Instagram.
Did you see it? You did, right?
Yeah, I saw it. It was
riding off into the non-existent sunset.
As we all know, that he has had his sack dance, I guess if you lack of better words. He corrals the quarterback and ties his legs up. You know, he's a Southern guy. He was probably top 5 for defensive ends in the Vikings at least.
Mm-hmm.
And other teams. He wasn't with Carolina for too long, about 12 games, and he still made a great impact on their defense. Of course, one of the best of all time. He was the NFL's active sack leader with 136.
Yep, 4-time Pro Bowler or 5-time Pro Bowler.
Yep, 5-time. In 2011, he recorded 22 sacks for the Minnesota Vikings, coming 0.5 away from tying Michael Strahan's record. New York Giants legend there, and Hall of Famer to be, I believe. He's not one yet.
Right.
So Jared Allen, great impactful player. You know, pretty much he didn't revolutionize the game, but he did everything well. He could bull rush, get around the end. He could hold his edge to let the linebackers come back around and get their sacks. So you have to think, he was a team player. Have many more sacks would he have had if he just thought about himself?
Right.
And sad day to see him go, but people have been deciding to do this, and more we're seeing the big names fall, and the people that we grew up watching. And I guess this might be our first experience of really feeling emotion towards these people leaving the game.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hope he stays connected to it and continues to be the man he is.
I'm looking at his Pro Football Reference page, and I'm looking at the trade that actually sent him to Minnesota.
Yeah.
It was a pretty big blockbuster. I don't think I ever knew that. Traded by the Chiefs with a 6th-round pick to the Vikings for a 1st-round pick, a 3rd-round pick, which became Jamal Charles,
Yep.
another 3rd-round pick, and a 6th-round pick. That's a pretty big deal for a defensive end. But then you look 7 years later, and he was traded for a 6th-round pick.
Right. 7 years is a lot of time and a lot of sacks.
But he was still pretty good.
Oh,
yes.
Yes.
He was good this season.
He was good. He was good this season, yes. He was good with the Chiefs. As a Vikings fan, we were at a time in organization, we were at a time where we wanted to win right then. We had the players, too. We had one of the best pass defenses, or one of the best run defenses. Our pass defense was probably around 15 area, not as good, but the upper guys, the guys in the trenches really held our team together, and of course Adrian Peterson and the rest of them were Brett Favre, and we had some good years, and it was sad to see him leave to go to the Bears.
Yep.
Because of course division rivals.
Yep.
And it was sad to see the Bears not even have him for too long and just send him right away to Carolina. But he had a great career.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish the best to him.
He retires as 9th all-time with 136 stats. He's also 1st all-time with 4 safeties, tied for 1st, I believe. But yes, we hope Jared Allen has a great retirement. 33 years old, former 4th-round pick. Best of luck to him in his future endeavors. We move on from a slow NFL day to Major League Baseball, where it's also pretty slow, as pitchers and catchers have reported for most teams. First off, though, the Baltimore Orioles, we mentioned that they would probably sign Giovanni Gallardo. We mentioned that a couple weeks ago. Still hasn't happened, but it's more and more likely that it will. And they will also most likely sign outfielder Dexter Fowler.
Those are both good players that they could use. Watching them a little bit this year, their pitching was a little low, a little down. They had some injuries that were key to them losing. These like people coming into their organization, if they get them, would be good. I know a lot of people are gunning for both of them. So,
especially with what Baltimore now has to deal with the Red Sox with Price, and then the Yankees are not a powerhouse, but they're always in the hunt.
Right.
They need additions like this to really help them stay in contention. Even with Toronto, I passed over them. They're probably the powerhouse, but
so let's look at these teams now. More evidently than ever, the starting rotation has played a very big role in the winning of games and in the postseason, and the bullpen, of course. So ranking this division, where do they stand? How would you rank them?
Baltimore?
Baltimore and everyone else. I know the Red Sox are pretty top-heavy in their rotation.
I would say...
with Price being there.
I would probably say... I would probably say Toronto, New York, Boston, Baltimore, Tampa. And it's a little sad to see that Tampa's fallen off, considering where they were in 2008 and years like that,
right?
When led by Evan Longoria. But I think that it's going to be really close at the top between the Red Sox, the Yankees, and the Blue Jays. The Red Sox spent a lot of money, obviously.
Right.
But like you said, that rotation's top-heavy. Meanwhile, you have the Yankees, who I think have a pretty balanced rotation.
I think we have a very balanced rotation.
Yeah.
But I kind of disagree with the Rays. I could see the Red Sox still losing more games than the Rays.
Oh, yeah?
The Rays had their whole starting rotation hurt last year.
They did.
The guy that was going to be in fourth or fifth in the rotation, Chris Archer, made a case as a top 5 pitcher last year at some points, and he did well against the Yankees. I think one game he got beat up pretty bad versus us.
I think so, yeah.
But the rest of them, he did very well in divisional games, and I think if they get them back healthy, Matt Moore, right?
Yep, he's still there, I believe.
Lefty, I believe.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it.
I think he's a lefty. He was a very coveted pick a while ago, and he
had some injury issues.
Yeah, recently he looks to do something, and I know they're hoping someone can do something on their team.
Yeah,
but I think their issues lie more with their offense than anything.
Yep. So we move on from the Orioles, but we stay in the division.
Yep.
Aroldis Chapman today reported to camp with the rest of pitchers and catchers. Chapman said that if he is in fact suspended by the league for his off-the-field domestic issue, that he will appeal, no matter what.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to happen. Of course he wants to appeal. He wants to play,
obviously.
Plus he
money.
wants to, like you noted last show, how you want to explain that one more time with how the suspension may affect the Yankees next year.
Yes.
And he may not have any decision in what he has to do.
No, I don't have the exact number on me, but if Chapman is in fact suspended for a certain amount of games that's above the threshold set by the league, then this year basically doesn't count for him on his service time and on his contract.
Right.
So the Yankees would get him for next year under the same terms, everything. It's like he just skipped a year.
Whereas if he does not,
if he's suspended for like one game,
leave the Yankees,
right? Yeah,
and
free
make
agency.
more money somewhere else in free agency, or sign. And if he likes the Yankees this season and he doesn't get suspended for that over the threshold of number of games,
yes,
he might sign here for more money. So we'll see. I think I kind of want him to be suspended because
really,
if we've been known to hold down our bullpen the way it is, how it's been. We did it last year. We hold it down and wait for him to come back, and then that's at the end of the seasons when we struggled in the bullpen. You know that, right?
Yeah, no, I
we
understand
were on
that.
fire 3/4 of the year, and then
Well, that's because Chase and Shreve fell apart.
Yeah, and Giardi went back to back to back to back to back to back constantly, and Miller and Betances' arms had to be feeling like a noodle.
Oh,
So
yes, I know. Yeah,
if you bring one more guy into that at the end, it'll be unstoppable. Of course, it'd be unstoppable the whole year, but we're gonna get him cheaper, help our team, let us go after different guys in the following free agency market or trades.
But if you looked at this Yankees team now, you got Teixeira, who's up in a couple of years. You got A-Rod, who's up in a couple of years. Beltran's up after this year.
A-Rod won't come back in a couple of years. He'll retire.
Yeah, you never know. But still, you have a bunch of older veterans that...
Beltran will be gone.
Yes, Beltran, he'll be retired.
Teixeira will be gone.
Yes, but you have these older guys that are coming towards the end of their contracts. Obviously, they're not in the prime of their career. Beltran can barely run.
Right.
But A-Rod still has a lot of power. Teixeira, obviously, a lot of power, just health concerns.
Yep.
Beltran can still swing the bat pretty well. He had a pretty good year last season.
Yeah, he had a pretty good stretch there. For
not at the beginning, but from
when
May till
everyone else
September.
was struggling, he was actually hitting the ball.
Yeah, so if you looked at the team this year, it's going to be very different in 2 years. Granted, you'll probably have Judge. You'll probably have Bird. You might have Jorge Mateo. But then you look at...
Heathcott and so on.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Right,
we'll see how Gardner and Ellsbury play out. But
that could be another thing to look for.
Yeah,
keep going with your point.
I think that this might be one of the Yankees' last years to truly contend, unless, of course, we get Bryce Harper.
So how I'm looking at this, I feel like we have more of a shot to contend when the older guys are gone, and we try this Houston type setup with the younger guys pulling more of the weight than the older. I mean, they had a perfect plan for them, I thought. And the Yankees, I think they need to get younger. They need to restart.
Oh, they do. But,
and
I mean, as we've seen this offseason, though, not Cashman, Steinbrenner doesn't want to pay the big money.
Right.
He said that he's comfortable with the payroll the way it is. So my fear is that when guys like Harper come off the books for Washington...
We'll make a run at him, but I honestly don't think he's going to come here unless he really wants to come here.
I just don't see the Yankees spending huge money. I feel like it's changed, not exactly in the best of ways, but it's changed.
Oh, yeah. I think it's changed for the better. I think save money now and make your splash when there's a guy out there that you really is a game changer, is a top 5 player that can change your whole organization around, and that is Bryce Harper.
Yes.
But till then, like you said, I think we need to stick with what we have for now, but there's no way we're going to trade for one of them. We have to get them free agency. We're not, if we trade for them, we're going to lose our whole
You're going to lose
system.
the farm, yep.
So,
as we go off on that, do you think if Bryce Harper wasn't up in 2 years, or whatever it is, would you trade for him? Or is he worth too much?
He's worth too much. The Nationals want too much. But then again, the Nationals want to win now, and we've seen that with the moves that they made with, like, Scherzer and all of them.
Right.
So, would they want, like, let's see. Would they want,
well, they'd probably want Judge or Bird.
Ellsbury and Gardner, both of them, with, like, Bird and then a pitcher, and we'd get Harper and, say, maybe their, like, 30th prospect in their farm system, and that would be acceptable in my books. But if we're giving away...
Again, pure speculation
If we're giving away, like, Mateo, Bird, and Judge...
Then no.
And a pitcher...
Yeah, too much.
That we might not necessarily Luis, but someone that's, like...
Eovaldi, for example. Let's just throw him in there.
Exactly. Some guy that's proven that can come in there.
Well, somewhat proven, yeah.
Yeah, so of the past.
But,
changes.
yeah, in that case, you don't want to mortgage the future
right.
for what you have now.
I'd mortgage the older guys.
But they wouldn't take them this is, again, pure speculation.
Let's bring out our dad and ship them off.
We'll trade you CeCe, Teixeira, and A-Rod.
For Bryce Harper.
Deal. So, yeah, that's what Chapman has said. It's still probably the best bullpen in baseball if Chapman stays. Yeah. The Royals are up there, but I think the Yankees have got it. Speaking of relievers, do you remember Mets closer Bobby Parnell?
I do not.
Okay, he was a Mets closer who went down for a very long time with injury. He was out as a closer, spent a lot of time in the minors, missed a lot of 2014. And he today signed a minor league contract with a major league spring training invite with the Detroit Tigers. Parnell had Tommy John. He spent a lot of time on the disabled list. It opened the door for guys like Jose Valverde at the time.
Right.
Eventually, Henry Mejia and Jeris Familia. Parnell looks to be coming back to the lead. He's just got to work his way up from the minors. Do you have anything to add there?
I do not.
Okay. I'm sure you might have something to add here. You remember Nick Punto?
Yes.
He just retired.
All right. That's
So
kind of sad.
after a 14-year career with the Twins, Phillies, Dodgers, Cardinals, Red Sox, and Athletics, he calls it quits.
Yeah,
That's a lot of
he was
teams.
a good, he was a good player. I liked him.
I remember him a lot on Minnesota
Yeah.
and Boston.
Exact Boston, of course.
Well, I mean, yeah, of course.
I think for maybe the last 4 or 5 minutes of our show, I think we should go over a little speculation in the NBA.
Hit me with it.
All right. The Big Five: Blake Griffin, Kevin Love, Dwight Howard, Al Horford, Carmelo Anthony. We'll start off with Carmelo Anthony. One trade that you'll accept with sending Carmelo Anthony away,
LeBron James.
other than LeBron James. The one that makes sense.
Well, you gotta give me like
money-wise.
a team. Oh, I don't know. Money. I'm not the GM. Give me a team.
All right. Let's see.
Like, are you asking if I would
back
do?
to the Nuggets?
Okay.
Carmelo goes back to the Nuggets.
Steve Novak and 5 first-round picks. No, I'm just kidding.
Would you
The
take?
Nuggets.
I'll
Yeah,
throw some
at
players
me.
out there.
I will
All
let
right.
you know. I will let you know.
Emmanuel Mudiay.
I like him.
Gallinari back to the Knicks. He's been very good.
Okay.
And you get Kenneth Faried. And the Knicks send over Carmelo and Jaren Grant and a second-round pick.
You're losing me. You had me, and then you lost me.
I
I like Grant.
All
I
right.
do like Grant. And if Pitts are going to be involved, I want Pitts. I don't want to give Pitts.
All right, so
Because the Knicks, I almost said the Yankees, the Knicks need to be in a retooling stage right now. Well, technically rebuild, but
how
more
can you
retooling.
rebuild when you have Carmelo in your roster? I'd send him away instantly, but
Oh, I
don't-
would trade him too, but it
I
needs to
don't
be
think
for
he
young
has-
guys and Pitts.
I don't think he has a no trade clause in his contract.
I'm not certain on
I
that.
know he doesn't want to be traded because he loves New York.
Right.
And I've always liked Carmelo more towards the Syracuse days, of course.
Well, of course.
Yeah, Carmelo. I think if Phil Jackson would trade him for picks, like you said, and maybe a couple of young guys. Fareed's still kind of young.
Well, here, you want to do speculations? Here,
Send me one after
Yeah.
you say that.
you ready?
Yeah.
Love for Mello. You're the Knicks. Do you take it?
Straight up?
Straight up, no Pitts, no salary retention, nothing.
No, I don't take it because you already have a power forward.
Porzingis?
So, yes.
Okay.
Unless it was like
Love in a second.
Love in a second.
I still say no.
No, probably not.
Yep.
You gotta throw in some other players, if anything. All
Yep.
right, let's switch to. All right, you send me one. Dwight Howard, Celtics.
Ooh, all right. Howard for 2 seconds and Sullinger.
Yes,
Yes.
that's a very easy giveaway.
Okay, Howard for a first, a second, and Sullinger. The Brooklyn first
Brooklyn first wood year.
this year.
No,
Next year.
probably like 63%.
That's a very precise number.
I thought about it. All right, we'll do some combined here.
Okay.
Of course, I've heard how Carmelo and the Kevin Love trades were linked together. That's probably not going to happen.
Right.
Blake Griffin, if he goes anywhere, pick 3 teams that you think he could go.
Griffin?
Yes.
Oh, man.
3 teams that he would fit in, and maybe the Clippers would be okay with sending him there.
I just don't think they want to send him to the West, honestly.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to send
I
him
wouldn't
to the
want
West.
to, especially like. in
I would
division.
love to see him on the Utah Jazz
Okay.
with Gordon Hayward
Why?
and Rudy, because so he's got a big guy, Rudy Gobert.
Yep.
You could send Derek Favors back, who's been really good,
Mm-hmm.
to the Clippers. He would be good there. Griffin, Rudy Gay, and you have who would I just say? Gordon Hayward, who's been scoring lights out.
Rudy Gobert, you mean, not Rudy Day.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, because you
Rudy
confused me.
Gobert. Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Blake Griffin.
Yep.
And
Hayward.
Gordon Hayward. Shooting guard.
Alec
Burks.
Burks. And then
He's
Trey
been
Burke
hurt.
is starting
Trey
guard,
Burke
or starting point
or
guard.
Nito or
Yeah.
whatever, who have you.
Yeah.
Exum will be coming back. He's been hurt.
Exum, yep.
So I think that would be a good one. If you had to send anyone to the West, I'd want to send it to them. They wouldn't want to send it to them.
Right.
I'd like to see him there. That's probably enough with speculation. We're still hoping to get a couple more trades out here. They only
there are a lot in the works right now. The Knicks are exploring making a trade. No idea for who. The Bucks and Timberwolves are engaged in talks for Ricky Rubio. Orlando.
That means they might send Michael Carter-Williams away.
Yep.
That's weird. Huh?
Yeah. Orlando is looking to send Napier. Portland and Chicago both have interest, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. I completely forgot that Napier was on Orlando, honestly. Thought he was still with Miami.
Thought he was in Miami.
Yeah. What was that deal? Do you know how he ended up in?
The only reason he went there is because LeBron liked watching him at UConn. That's why they drafted him.
Yeah, but how did he end up in Orlando? Free agency?
I don't remember. It might have been.
I didn't think you could hit free agency.
They might have just released him.
Maybe.
Honestly.
Maybe.
Because they got Dragic. Might have been in that trade, actually.
The Royals signed former Yankees legend Ross Ollendorf to a minor league deal.
Huh.
Yeah. That's pretty much all there is there. I remember watching. It was actually kind of fun to watch, too.
Well, we tried to keep you up to date. We haven't seen any trades here, so we're probably going to end it today.
Yeah, we still have 45 minutes to the deadline, so obviously more trades are going to come down.
And we'll let you know during our next show.
Yeah.
I just want to leave you on this note. Hideki Matsui was throwing BP today.
Yes, he did that last year, too.
I love it.
Oh, I love it. I miss it.
Go Godzilla. He was my favorite.
So, anything else to add today on deadline day? The second best deadline day.
For one thing to watch, the Knicks and the Celtics making a deal. Phil Jackson, Danny Ainge. The picks is what Phil wants. We'll see if anything happens there. Who they're going to give away? Over my head, I don't know. So, we'll see, but that's one thing to watch.
All right. So thanks for tuning in today. Make sure to follow our show on Twitter at RSR Sports Now. You can follow my personal account at Josh Heller20. And Logan?
At lowercase LOGAN _RIPLEY, Logan Ripley.
Good job. You can also find archive shows on our SoundCloud page. Go to soundcloud.com/sports-now-RSR. You can find us on Facebook. Again, got to search Sports Now. We don't have a fancy address.
We need 25 likes.
I think we're up to 8.
Look at that, too, since our last show.
So thank you for listening to Sports Now on Radio St. Rose. Be sure to tune in next time for all the latest news around the sports world.